Wonder about the future and how you'll be working and learning? Welcome to You in 2042, the future of work, with your host, Danielle Wallace.
Welcome to another edition of You in 2042, the future of work. Joining me today is Lorne Novolker.
First of all, Danielle, I wanted to thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast today. I'm very much looking forward to fun and exciting dialogue. So I've been in the training, learning, talent development space going back to the mid-90s. I co-founded two separate training companies, with the second one being Prospero Learning back in 1998, with the objective of how to leverage technology for learning. And obviously that evolved and will probably tie a little bit into our conversation. That business ran through till 2013 when we were acquired by GP Strategies, where I then spent the next 12 years in an executive capacity for both GP and then Calian Learning. Up until late last year, when I have now decided to focus more on consulting with organizations to help them to digitally transform how and when to leverage AI for their own organizations and their talent strategies, as well as strategic advising for startups and scale-ups in the EdTech and other tech sectors.
That is an amazing breadth of experience we can really dive into in our conversation today. Because you worked across those different spheres, you've seen this industry change so much. And as it continues to change, we'll see more workplaces' use of AI, as you mentioned, are available. But Lorne, how might this impact the talent strategy?
So I think it's an amazing question. And I think it's one with so much depth, and we can probably talk an hour on just that topic. But we're at a crossroads when it comes to, I think it's both an exciting and a scary time for businesses, for people, for organizations as a whole, but even the entire industry. So I really feel that we are at a period now where there is a ton of opportunity for talent development, talent management, talent acquisition to rethink and relook at their entire strategy. So what I mean by that is that right now, I think a lot of AI strategies are focused in IT. However, as AI starts to replace talent and become part of our talent planning when it comes to AI agents and other aspects, we need to look at how do we recruit, how do we develop, how do we manage, and how do we develop the next level of leader in our organization in a way that is non-threatening and yet positive for both individuals in the workforce as well as organizations as a whole.
So with that unpacking of talent strategy, having an AI strategy, really getting outside of IT, and the whole world of this is kind of crazy and scary about using AI as a whole, this really means that people have different skills that they'll need to succeed in this kind of scary or exciting place. What type of skills do you think people will need, Lorne?
So I actually think that the more important question before we get into skills is kind of, I think it's important that we look at the implementation of AI more as with a strategic lens and strategic thinking than simply a software implementation. Right. And I think that ties very closely into both the strategy, but also the skills that we're going to need to be able to leverage and make the best use of AI. And to me, the biggest key there is the integration of AI and human factors. Right. There's so many lessons that we can learn from all the digital evolutions over the last, this is 2042. So we're talking 17 years out from now, right? Which if we go back and we look at 17 years ago was 2008. And we had such it's kind of hard to believe, but we had such a change in, and even before that, if we go back to what was 17 years before that, 91, the evolution, especially from 91 to 08, I think was drastic. And we're starting to see, I think now again, from 25 to 42. But there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from how we've adjusted and adapted to things like the integration of the fax machine, the integration of email, the internet, social media. They're all precedents to the potential and the adjustments we need to make as it relates to AI's impact and potential. So each one of those, I don't know what to call them, evolutions of technology, digital transformations, changed with speed. Everything became faster, became more readily available to us. It reshaped every aspect of the working dynamic. I mean, it's funny enough, but I was just talking about how the fax machine just completely changed so much of how we worked back in I might age myself a little bit, but I was a student, but in the 80s, when late 80s, when that was first starting. But I think the way in which our skills need to change still evolve around the human differentiators and the human factor that we all bring. So critical thinking, emotional intelligence, these are the things that I think are at the end of the day going to really drive overall performance as we integrate with AI. I think that, from a skill perspective, AI is bringing us a lot, right? But we need to learn more. And I think the things that we have to focus on is the organizations that are going to leverage AI the most are going to determine what to delegate to AI versus what are the kind of fundamental human differentiators that we can do that AI are unable to do, at least today. Maybe that'll change as we move more into large action models and to the next wave of where this goes from LLMs and the large language models. But empathy, critical thinking, context are the most important aspects, I think, for people and from a skill perspective to be able to adjust to. Those are going to be the premium skills that if we look at AI or as the people that complement technology and don't compete with it, I think is going to be a really important factor in this.
So with that complement and not compete, it really also plays to the need to interpret and apply the context, I guess, and even those other skills that you speak about or are alluding to, even what you're saying is talking about not fighting automation and such. Are these some of the skills? Are these some of the more practical applications of those skills?
Yeah, I think so. We're moving away from, there's a shift from more task-based skills to more decision-making and critical thinking roles for humans, for people. And it's that overlap and integration between the two that's really going to be critical. I feel like some of the most defining skills of the entire digital age, whether we've had them in the past, experiencing them today, and as we move into the next wave, the thing that humans still do much better than technology is judgment. And I think that that's going to be a big part. And then how do we use that judgment? And I think critical thinking is really one of the most, I feel like social media has made us a little bit move away from critical thinking. And now we have to go back to a bigger focus or a better focus on some of those fundamental skills of critical thinking and making good judgments that will allow us to use the technology, but responsibly, and to speed again, to increase the speed and to accessing information, to gathering data, to combining it with human creativity is going to be some of the biggest balances between those that will help us. Like AI is accelerating change. It's happening so fast. And I think if we tie in that speed question again, Danielle, it's going to be the people who are able to learn faster than the pace of the disruption. They're the ones that I think are going to be able to thrive.
With that speed as an undercurrent, and then that persistent need to learn faster than speed of change, there's lots that I'm curious what you're seeing then as that lens of what are organizations perhaps doing wrong right now? Within your roles, you're seeing lots as you work across entrepreneurship, consulting, and learning, you're seeing perhaps lots of things that are happening. Are there things that are pitfalls that you're seeing across organizations right now?
I think the biggest, I don't know if I want to use the word pitfall, but let's go with it. I think the biggest, let's say pitfall, is organizations are looking to how AI can save them the most money, right? CEOs everywhere are looking at, and this has been for probably 2 years now, how is AI going to help us do things cheaper, let's say, or how can we be more efficient? And that translates into employees having that fear reflex. I'm going to lose my job. What does this mean for me? What does this mean for my job? What does it mean for my skills that I need to be able to do or have in order to be able to stay employable, whether it be here or elsewhere? And I think the whole idea right now, we went through this euphoric stage of this is really cool, this is amazing, this is fascinating, ChatGPT, whatever. But now when I talk to CLOs and talent leaders, what they tell me is that this mix of fear, but also in some circles, it's those who are using it, it's making them more efficient and it's making them be better at what they are doing. But I think that pitfall, to use that term, is, are we doing it to improve organizationally, or are we looking at all the best ways in order to reduce costs? And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And what I was just I'm part of a think tank group that focuses on the future of the talent development industry. And the biggest topic these days, obviously, is AI. And it's even more than just Gen AI. It's AI in general. The aspects of data and adaptive and what we can do with AI is evolving drastically. But one of those questions, and I don't know if this is a pitfall, but one of the questions that people seem to be struggling with is, and it ties into the skills question, do organizations focus on their skills first, like creating a robust skills architecture first, taxonomies, governance, standards, and then layering AI on top of that? Do they go AI first, meaning start deploying AI tools rapidly and then adding a skills framework on top of that adjusts to kind of how AI will be leveraged? Or two other options that are, do we do them in parallel? Do we find a way that you can pursue one and the other completely in parallel, but integrated? Or is skill-based, task-based structures and AI done in parallel but not integrated? And this is happening differently in all types of organizations. So I think the way in which people are looking at it is really going to be a big challenge for focus.
And even within that lens, it's, in essence, it's the effective use of AI on talent strategy and the whole repercussions and implications that it comes through. And hopefully, with those organizations and industry as a whole, we can really shepherd in what will be a benefit to the workforce, even in a way that's beyond mere cost cutting. Mm-hmm. Lorne, you have such a big lens on where things are at and how things are happening. If people want to learn more about you, how would they get in touch?
So I have a website that's very under production, but novolker.com, which you can find some quick information. But LinkedIn is likely the best place to come find me today, and can reach out and connect and contact me that way. All my contact information is there.
I encourage everybody to continue asking these questions, to continue the thought-provoking aspects of talent development with AI, and the whole entire use of talent strategy in a way that propels our industry forward. Lorne, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Danielle. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you for being a part of the future. Subscribe now to stay current.